The video surveillance from an Albuquerque motel shows it clearly. A man paces the corridor. A woman exits her room to get something from her car and then returns.
And from out of nowhere, this guy came back around the corner. And this time he had a gun and he was pointing it right at my abdomen.
At that very moment, Lynne Russell's husband, Chuck Caro, emerged from the shower.
And he then moved the gun from pointing at my wife to pointing at me. And he said, "I need your money."
But the gunman did not know that Russell, a former CNN anchor, and Caro, a former CNN reporter who trained as a Special Forces soldier, habitually travel with guns that they are licensed and trained to use. You were able to actually move your gun from the nightstand into your purse?
Right. I slipped one of the guns into the purse and handed it to Chuck and said, take a really good look inside here, because see if there's anything you can find that we want to give the man. And Chuck looked and he said, yes, there is.
And they say as the suspect started to shoot,
So I drew.
Caro fired back. And you killed this man.
And I killed him.
But you got shot yourself.
Yeah, well, that's the nature of the game. It's called combat.
You might call them good guys with guns, an idea touted by some Republican presidential candidates.
130 people killed, many, many people in the hospital.
Take Donald Trump on last November's terrorist attack in Paris.
If they had guns on the other side of the room with the bullets going in the opposite direction, you would not have had 130 people killed. That I can tell you right now.
Wayne LaPierre.
And it's become a rallying cry for Wayne LaPierre.
The NRA will go the distance.
CEO of the National Rifle Association, the nation's most prominent gun rights group.
The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
We asked to speak with LaPierre.
Millions of Americans share the NRA's vision.
But instead, the NRA provided former president and current board member Sandy Froman of Tucson. Could a good guy with a gun really stop a terrorist attack?
I think a good guy with a gun could protect himself or herself. I think if you have a choice of using your gun to save your life or having your life taken, then yes, I think you should have that choice.
Basically, the thought is the more law-abiding people own and are trained to use guns, the safer we'll all be.
Exactly, exactly.
This is also a personal issue for Froman, who purchased her first gun at 32 after an attempted break-in at her home.
I think that we all need to be prepared in case something really evil happens to us.
And gun sales are up, with background checks on buyers hitting a record high of more than 23 million last year.
Start scenario. Bang! Bang!
Even some school personnel, like these in Ohio, are preparing for the worst. While many gun rights advocates say it's time to end most bans on guns in public places, known as gun-free zones.
Somebody intent on rape or robbery or murder is not going to obey that little circle with the line through it. So why
you think
should
these people are sitting ducks?
Sitting ducks, that's exactly right.
We heard this loud, like, bang, 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 with these successions of noises. And
but Colin Goddard sees it differently. He was in French class at Virginia Tech on that day in 2007.
you could hear it, and then it was getting louder, and then all of a sudden you could see bullets coming in the front of the classroom.
Goddard was lucky. Though shot 4 times, he recovered. 32 people were killed. Yet he rejects the idea that good guys with guns could have saved the day.
There was never really a thought that came in my mind during the course of the event. I was much more concerned with how can we do a better job of stopping the one gun from coming into that classroom than trying to put a gun in every single classroom of my school. You know, that felt like would be a much more dangerous situation.
Goddard now works for Everytown for Gun Safety, advocating for stronger gun control laws that he says would keep guns away from the bad guys in the first place. But the NRA insists we don't need more laws.
Every time you pass a new law, instead of enforcing the existing laws, you further burden law-abiding citizens.
Chuck, obviously the cane, none of that was there before, huh? As for Chuck Caro, he's now undergone 6 surgeries. He and his wife, Lynne Russell, believe that their right to bear arms saved their lives. But they say being a good guy with a gun is not a political decision, but a personal one.
I don't tell anybody, go out and get a gun. I don't, right? But if you're going to, you should be very well trained, and that understand that even if you have to use that gun to defend yourself, that life is never going to be the same again.